Welcome, everybody, to another edition of The Hurry Up. I'm your host, Adam. Let's get into this. So, Thanksgiving. Man, did I enjoy it? Hell yeah, I ate a lot of great food. Damn near choked on my food in the second half of the games, but let's recap the beginning game, the night cake game, and then we'll get right into the game that we know we want to talk about quickly. The Lions did a heck of a job hanging with the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo, I don't know if it's because they're in the Super Bowl or they have to win a lot, but they are taking teams to the wire. And even though Josh Allen, is leading the league in turnovers, he also led them down the field with Stephon Diggs and made a great play, and they were aggressive. So hats off to them for winning. Hats off to the Lions for really playing hard for Dan Campbell. I don't think Dan's going anywhere. I really don't. He's changed the culture of that team. They believe they can win. They got a lot of offensive statistics. They need a little bit of a better defense. We'll see. I mean, sometimes they might fire him, but I think they got a good thing going and give him at least one more year to kind of see what he can do. Because that NFC North is kind of weak outside of Minnesota. But let's jump to Minnesota. Minnesota, who got the doors blown off on Sunday, come back on Thursday and absolutely have a barn burner with the New England Patriots. Yes, there's a controversial call with Hunter Henry and the catch that wasn't a catch. But the Vikings did what they had to do to get their 9th victory of the season and remain one of the top teams in the NFC. And they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Oh, by the way, I think New York goes down there and plays in that beautiful building of theirs, the Mercedes Dome. Or whatever that dome is called. USA Bank Stadium or some shit. Don't really matter because they change the names every few years anyways. Anywho, point is, Minnesota, they probably should have had an outdoor stadium. That's what I would have done. Nobody wants to go there in the cold. But then, let's talk about the game at 4:30. Giants-Cowboys. What a game. Okay, if you're a Cowboy fan, the first half of the game was ridiculous. I mean, the Giants come out, fired up, ready to go, looking like they're ready to play. And they kind of gave a yeoman's effort. They kind of gave a good effort in the first half. I think that one of the crucial moments in the game is they go the first 4 plays. They have a Lawrence Cager catch. He runs up the sideline. Then they go 3 and out, punt the football. Dallas gets the ball back, and they go bing bang boom, and they get to the Giants' 41-yard line. And Mike McCarthy, who sometimes is a riverboat gambler, decided, you know what? I don't respect the Giants, and I respect our defense. I'm going to go for it here. And he did, and they missed it. And that was turnover number 1 for them. And the Giants go back down the field, and they can't score a touchdown. They go downfield and get inside the 30, and penalty, intentional grounding. Like, what in the hell were you thinking, Daniel? I know I saw the flag go off, but you got to throw it to somebody. Because if it is a defensive penalty, at least you're gonna advance the ball, right? If he was offside, you're at least getting a free 5 yards. So go deep and try it, and maybe they can see it. Instead, what do? It's an illegal formation penalty, and then they throw an intentional grounding. So they said, screw the illegal procedure penalty. We're going to take the intentional grounding, which left the Giants in a field goal. Graham Gano hits a 57-yarder. And you're like, oh, man, okay. Cowboys go downfield again and score after they get out of their own way. Mind you, the Cowboys in the first half were penalized left and right. Left and right. That's it. Left and right in the first half. And Dak threw untimely pick after untimely pick. So the Giants get the Cowboys get the ball downfield. They score. The Giants kick the ball off. They go down there. They get a touchdown. They're up 10-7, right? Cowboys are driving again. And here's where there's another pick. Darnay Holmes, and we're going to get to that guy in a little bit. Guard CeeDee Lamb, the ball tips up in the air, and Julian Love's there to intercept it. Giants go down the field and kick a field goal. They're up 13-7 at the half. Giants are 13-7 at the half. People, we were talking about this team getting the doors blown off, and let's be honest, the game probably shouldn't have been as close as it was at halftime, but 2 interceptions, 2 untimely interceptions by the Cowboys, and that's what you're at, right? So the Cowboys, what they do? they got the ball. Again, the Giants, back-to-back weeks, didn't get the ball coming out of the third quarter. That kind of hurts them going forward. So, Cowboys come out. They get the game. They get the third quarter going. They take a 7-minute drive, march 7 minutes down the drive. Yes, of course, they have some penalties to keep going with the drive, but they end up scoring a touchdown. The game is now 14-13 with 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. And what do we get? The Giants are moving the football. They get bogged down at their own 40-yard line, 44-yard line. It's 4th and 1. 4th and 1. Here's where the game turns. Now, Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka, y'all need to come up with a better game plan, man. You had bootlegs and everything. They shut you down. They got nothing going on. Our quarterback needs to play a little bit above. If one thing's not working, the other thing's got to work. When both of them aren't working, you get what you got, right? On Sunday against the Lions, neither one of them was good, right? Daniel threw 2 costly interceptions, and he almost threw one at the half. If it wasn't for some penalty, which could have ended the game, ended the half on a bad note. But he had a terrible game, probably one of the worst he's had in a while. I don't want to hear about, no, he had a bad game. It's okay to say he had a bad game, okay? And you can see why Joe Schoen and Daboll are reluctant to kind of give this guy, I know, he doesn't have this, he doesn't have that. Kenny Golladay wasn't even used. But again, 4th and 1. Daniel, I know you're getting rushed, but everyone talks about how you're sticking throws in there, and the one throw we need you to stick, you throw it to Barkley. Now I get it. Barkley needs to catch that ball, but Barkley's not known as a receiver, okay? Why are you going to make it harder for a guy out there when he's turning his back and then falling down momentum-wise? Why not just lay it out there? Even Daniel said, I got to lay the ball out there. Yeah, lay it out there, and he's running up the sideline for God knows how many yards. I know it's on Barkley, but sometimes you got to give the quarterback's got to do a better job of putting the ball on the spot. That's what he does. Yeah, I know when my coach used to tell me, hit you in the hands, you catch it. Yeah, but, body contortion is not part of my job description. He didn't even put it in his breadbasket. He put it low down by his feet. For a guy who is not agile to catch the football in that regard and is having a terrible day catching the football these last couple games. He dropped one against the Lions. You got to put that in there. That's a big-time play. And then what happened? The Giants give up the ball on the 44-yard line, their 44-yard line, plus territory for the Cowboys. And the Cowboys go down and score 21-14. You knew the game was cooked then. You knew the game was cooked down. The Giants tried to score, did nothing. Give the ball back to the Cowboys. Cowboys went again down the field. It's now 28-13 in the fourth quarter. And you knew that good night the lights at that point because the Cowboys were flying on all cylinders. And by the way, people who tell me that they don't respect Micah Parsons, y'all got to be more of a content creator and less of a fan if you're going to come out there and say statements like that. Micah Parsons had 2 sacks in the game. The guy is leading the NFL in sacks. The Cowboys defense shut us down. And if it weren't for penalties on both sides of the football, on both teams, they're both being penalized for shitty shit. Some ticky-tack, some great. Like the illegal man downfield. Come on. That shouldn't have been called. It was called. The holding play on Darnay Holmes shouldn't have been called, but it was called. And Darnay Holmes, three times he was penalized big time in this game. And that's been his MO. And so for me, this game, we played above the weight class. And that's what the rest of these games are going to be like. The Giants don't have the talent to keep up with teams like this. I asked somebody, hey, you think the Giants are going to score 30 points? They laughed at me. They're like, ha, 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 ha. The Cowboys, I'm not afraid of them. Oh, we're going to beat them on Thursday, blah, blah, blah. We're going to beat them. Adam, you shouldn't, concede the victory. Well, guess what? It was true. Now all the people who said, we're going to win on Thursday are now like, well, we're 7-4, man. High five. Click, click, click. No. Expectations change when this team went 7-2. When this team started winning football games, the expectations change. You can't revert now back to say, hey, well, now we're a rebuilding team. I've been saying we were a rebuilding team this whole time. But when you get to a certain level, there's an expectation now you're trying to be a contender. And right now, the Giants are not a contender. Okay? I don't care if they bring in Odell Beckham Jr. What are you going to have? What, three and a half, 4 games of that guy? Because you know that he can't, what, he's going to come in on Tuesday and play on a Sunday and be effective? Give me a break. How many guys from 2 ACLs come back that quickly? They don't. I'm not saying he won't come here. He might. But if I'm him, I'm looking at the 3 teams that he's interested in, and I'm looking at what's my path to the ring. Cowboys, you put them on the Cowboys, you could call them instant Super Bowl contenders. You already know the Bills are going to be in the playoffs, and if not in the Super Bowl. Some people have them in the Super Bowl. I do. And then you have the Giants, who are going to struggle the next 4 games. I'm sorry to tell you that. They may pull out a victory here and there, but they're going to struggle. They play the Commanders, who are red hot. They play the Eagles. They play the Commanders after a bye week of playing them a week before, and then they play the Minnesota Vikings, who just put up 33 points against New England. Tell me where the score is coming from. They don't use Kenny Golladay. Why is he even on the team? I heard people saying, "Oh, well, when he comes back, let's use him." I'm not saying you have to sound the alarm, but be aware of what is going on overall with the team. The Giants have to scrape by on 2 victories in his next 6 games. 2-4 down the stretch. They have to be in order to sniff the playoffs. And let's hope that Seattle doesn't get 3 more victories, because they're in the running for us too. And we better hope that the Commanders don't find a way to get 3 more victories as well and beat us, because that's what could happen. This game next Sunday against the Washington Redskins, I'm going to call them the Redskins, is a big game. Probably the biggest we've seen in the last 5 years. And I know people are going to say, well, Daniel Jones, he has a great track record. It don't matter on Sunday. Because if they win win or lose or draw, if the Redskins win on Sunday or lose on Sunday, but let's do the win first, they're going to come in and look at us and say, the Giants are 1 game better than us, and they're taking our playoff spot. Okay? If they lose the game, they're going to be like, we need to save our season and keep this baby going to even have a shot at the playoffs. The Giants don't utilize their players well. You know, the one thing I will say, the coaching staff has failed some players in this system. Kenny Golladay, they have failed in this system. I heard, let's play to his strengths. His strengths aren't running slant routes. His strengths are running the field downfield. How do we have Darius Slayton running downfield twice, by the way? Twice. And everyone's like, that would have been a walk-in touchdown. That was not a walk-in touchdown. The ball was inside a little too much, and Darius jumped toward the ball. That ball needs to be at the pylon. That ball needs to be there. So Darius is not like this. He's like this, right? Ball's underthrown. That could have been an interception. Okay? Second one, they throw it, high point the ball. Why are we doing that? No, don't get me wrong. Darius Slayton went up to get it. I keep telling you people, he's competent enough to do that. But why is Kenny Golladay not doing that? Why is Isaiah Hodgins, who's 6'4", not doing that? Could it be that maybe they don't trust the guy getting them the football? God forbid I talk about that guy, right? In this fan base, my God. You criticize any part of the team, you're negative. Well, guess what? I'm criticizing them in a win, and I'm criticizing them in a loss. That's what's called being consistent in 100. And I told you guys, against good defenses, Daniel struggles. Guess what? He struggled. Don't give me this, he had 300 yards and he threw for a touchdown at the end of the game, at garbage time. Garbage time. You know the game was over. And another thing that pisses me off, what the hell were the Giants doing inside the 4th quarter with 7 minutes to go, down 2 scores? You're running the football? You're handing it off to Saquon Barkley, eating up clock? It's as if you were trying to concede the loss. Let's get out of this with what we can. What's the point of doing that? Go and win the freaking football game. You got fans on here telling me that I'm crazy, that we're going to lose. And here we are, we lost. How crazy did it look now? Oh, well, Adam, we knew it was coming, we're undermanned. No, you can't just flip it on that side. If you believe this team was going to the playoffs, and you still think they're going to the playoffs, well, guess what? Every game here on out is a playoff game. You got to treat it as such. You can't just be hunky-dory You can't be one way and say and slam people in the face and say, well, you don't know, you're just being negative. You think they're going to lose to the Cowboys. I have people telling me, we're going to beat the Cowboys, man. We got no chance, blah, blah, blah. We're going to beat the Cowboys, bro. Going to beat them, blah, 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 blah. Okay. But where are we? We're 0-2 in the division with 3 more division games coming up right now. We were 1-5, 2-4 last year. And then 2-4 last year. We beat the Washington Commanders and we beat Philadelphia. With this team being injured and depleted, and by the way, they play defense over there in Washington. They play good defense and they have good receivers. We don't have a Adoree Jackson. You saw what Dak Prescott did when he decided to get his head out of his ass. Oh, by the way, I don't even think we had a sack. Where's the pass rush? Where is it? There's a lot on this team that we got to man up and play against. I know Commanders are on our weight level, but if they play a flawless game and we give up a turnover, that could be the difference in the ball game. The Giants don't have the horses to go down and be in shootouts. And if you take out Saquon Barkley, their offense is done. You can do bootlegs, but guess what? They're not scared of Daniel Jones. They're going to say, right, we'd rather have Daniel run for 100 yards on us than Saquon Barkley. And you're going to start to see that going forward against these better put together football teams. You can laugh about the Commanders all you want on paper. Well, people like to do that. They're a better football team. And right now, they're the hottest football team in the NFC. I heard people saying, oh, we don't want to play the Giants. No one's going to promise you that. They don't want to play the Giants in the playoffs. Promise you that? I promise you this. Everybody wants to see New York in the playoffs. Everybody. Because they know they have nobody. They know, hey, my path to the next round is to play the New York Giants. Because we know they're undermanned. And if they get into a shootout, they can't win. And that's what a lot of these teams are going to be doing. Putting us in a shootout. Minnesota can score. Washington has the horses to do it. Whether or not they do it, and they have a decent defense. And oh, by the way, there's that team down in Philadelphia who's playing lights out. Who, by the way, we got a chink in the armor. Give me a break. They're going for their 10th win on Sunday night against Green Bay. They got to keep pace because guess what? The Cowboys are on their heels. And not to mention the Minnesota Vikings. You play to be the top seed. Why wouldn't they want the best record? Why wouldn't they want a bye week? Every week for them has been a tough week. They know how to win ugly. They know how to win dominantly. They know how to win on all phases of the game. We can't do any of that. And we'll get into this more on Wednesday on the Real Deal NFC East Roundup because we don't know what's going to happen with Atlanta. Atlanta's also playing for their playoff lives on Sunday. So a big game for the Commanders. Wow, I actually called them the Commanders. The Commanders this weekend. We'll see what happens. If they win, buckle up, Giant fans, because your first playoff game was on Thursday. Guess what? You got a second one on Sunday, which basically will be the season. Because if you lose to that team, there's no way on God's green earth I see the Eagles coming in just laying an egg. I just don't. I don't care if we can't block a nosebleed right now. And oh, by the way, we can't stop the run. We've given up 100 yards in 2 games. Over 200 yards in 2 games. One to the lowly Lions, who you should have beaten. And this loss to the Cowboys isn't as much. Now we're going to have to fight the rest of the way with teams that are better than the teams that most of the teams we saw this season. And remember, we stole 2 against some good teams. We stole 1 against the Baltimore Ravens, and we stole 1 against Tennessee. You can't tell me otherwise. I'm not going to lie. You can't tell me otherwise. Things happen in that game that don't normally happen, and they did. And we won. A win's a win. But we stole those games. And then we lost one we were supposed to win at this point. I don't care if they're the Lions. I don't care. They were supposed to be on our level in terms of winning. Once you get to 7-2, that's it. They're not on your level anymore. They're playing for a top 10 pick in the draft. You let them run all over you. You go in against the Cowboys. Cowboys are giving you the game. And they basically, because of lack of talent, you can't hang with them. You better hope that when Evan Neal comes back, this team's going to be a little better. Because I'm telling you right now, the Giants score 20 points a game. They're going to need to score at least 27 points a game to win some of these football games. And if they can't do it, good night, the lights. If they lose next Sunday against Washington, you might as well good night the lights. Start practicing for the draft. Because it's going to be a struggle those remaining games. Because then you play the Eagles, who again are going to want to be like, we're going to want to embarrass us. And then a Washington team coming off a bye, who's going to be like, win, lose, or draw that game, is going to want to come back and do the corrections and beat you down in their building. Again, fighting for the playoffs. Because they have the Cowboys at some point. They've already played the Eagles twice, and they're going to play the Giants twice. So they're going to need one of those. They're going to need one of those, if not both of those games, to keep their playoff hopes alive. They can win those 2 games. They can win the next 3 games against the Falcons and the Giants twice, and that they cement themselves in the playoffs. Think about that. Have that while you're sitting eating your leftovers from Thanksgiving. I love this team, but it's going to be a hard road, and it ain't going to be easy. I don't want to hear anybody saying, oh, we can beat this team or we're overlooking this team. We lost to the Detroit Lions. Enough said. Start getting on that level. You want to win 7 games? You want to get to the playoffs? You got to start playing like a playoff football team. You got to be coaching like a football team. Yeah, it's a rebuild mode. Well, then if you're going to rebuild, then don't worry about winning or losing these games, getting to the playoffs. But since we're 7-4 now, and everyone's high-fiving like, hey, 74. Well, now guess what? Competition sees you. They want to get in. Washington wants to get in. Atlanta wants to get in. These teams want to get into the playoffs. And they're going to fight tooth and nail to get you. I think the Giants have come back down to earth a little bit. That's okay. And that's okay to say. Let's see if they can somehow muster it up enough to win the game on Sunday, because I'm telling you right now, Washington ain't going to be afraid of coming into MetLife Stadium. As a matter of fact, they're getting Chase Young back. And their defense is playing well. So let's see what happens on Sunday, and that'll lead us down a path that we may need to talk about. Anyways, I know the hurry up went a little long. I had to get a lot in there. Hope you enjoyed the show. Happy Thanksgiving to all you and your family. You can catch me again on Wednesday with the Real Deal NFC East Roundup, where me and Mac the Giant fan are going to go over all the games NFC East, see what the path to victory is on Sunday, kind of give you an idea. But hey, it's playoff time for the Giants. From here on out, every game is going to be a playoff game, even that game against Colts, who aren't looking to lie down. And I don't think they're going to try to come to MetLife and lie down. So, Giant fans, it's going to be tough. I know everyone told me, hey, it's buckle up time. It's already tough. No, it's going to get a lot tougher than it was at the first half of the year. Giants have the number 3 toughest schedule in the NFL, finishing it up. And it only gets worse with the more wins they tack on. The more wins these teams tack on, the harder it becomes. See you soon.